Hook it and cook it. From the catch to the kitchen, it's your front row seat to learn mouth-watering new ways to fix seafood. It's time for Hook It and Cook It.
Welcome to Hook It and Cook It. I'm your host, Frank Willem. Today, Caribbean shrimp is on the menu, and Chef Todd Reilly from the Culinary Arts School at Jefferson Davis Community College is here with a great recipe. But before we cook it, we gotta hook it, or harvest it, or in this case, buy it. There's just something romantic about the sight of shrimp boats at work, or even at the dock. The smell of boiling shrimp is bound to fire up your taste buds, and we Americans love our shrimp, consuming 4.1 pounds per person per year. That's 50% more than the runner-up seafood, canned tuna. Yet most of us have no idea where our shrimp come from. Those shrimp boats come into the dock, unload their bounty, and then it's distributed to the local seafood markets along the coast. For those further away, the shrimp are bagged and frozen and then distributed across the nation. One problem with trawling for shrimp is the devastating effect it has on the seabed. For each pound of shrimp, 5 to 20 pounds of bycatch are killed. And that includes sharks, sea turtles, rays, starfish, and even juvenile red snapper, to say a few. But shrimp are also farm-raised in the U.S. with current regulations to ensure that the consumer gets a wholesome product. But not necessarily with the other 85% of the shrimp that's imported to the country to satisfy the nation's demand. Independent researchers have found 150 different types of bacteria resistant to 10 antibiotics. So buying American shrimp is not necessarily a bad idea. All right, we've got our shrimp, and when we come back, we're going to learn how to make couscous to go with it.
I've got the chicken stock, red peppers. All I'm going to do is bring that to a boil.
Okay.
We're going to add the couscous in, stir that up, turn it off, put a lid on it, let it sit for about 5 minutes, and it's done.
Done. That's it. Huh?
Yep. If you mess that up, just put your equipment down.
I think I can do that.
Leave the kitchen and never come back.
Welcome back to Hook It and Cook It. Chef Todd Reilly from the Culinary Arts School at Jefferson Davis Community College is about to show us how to make Caribbean shrimp. But first, we've got to prepare the plantains and couscous. Well, I like shrimp about every way they named in Forrest Gump, but I think you've got one they actually didn't name, and I'm looking forward to it. What do we need to do to get started?
Well, the first thing we're going to work on, what I've got here is, I grew up, born in Pascagoula. Cajun Creole was my passion. Went to South Florida, fell in love with Cuban and Caribbean food, and a lot of them, if you start looking at them, a lot of them have a lot of the same influences in the background. So I took the two and melded them, took what I knew from Cajun Creole and started infusing mangoes and some Caribbean influences and came up with a whole new cuisine. So that's what we have. We've kind of got a Jamaican Caribbean flair on shrimp scampi.
Oh, great, great.
So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to roast off some plantains.
Okay.
All right? So I've got the fridge here.
That'll be like our starch.
Yep, it's going to be starch and kind of a dessert almost. We're going to put some nice flavor onto it. So I've just got some about 1/4-inch cube plantains there. The blacker the skin, the better they are.
Oh, really?
They look rotten, but they're actually, the blacker they are, the more ripened they are.
Okay.
So just a little bit of olive oil, toss it on there, some salt and pepper.
Okay.
And that's about it. What we're going to do is toss them around.
All right. And then we're going to roast those in the oven?
Yep, and we're just going to roast them off in the oven until they get nice and soft and there's natural sugars start to caramelize and get nice and golden brown. It's going to take about 20 minutes. You want about a 375-degree oven.
Okay.
All right.
We get this other stuff started while that's cooking then, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We're going to start that first because, like I said, it takes about 20 minutes. And then we are going to work on the other two. Shrimp doesn't take any time at all to cook, so you want to get those plantains in. And then you can start working on everything else, the couscous and the shrimp. A sheet pan.
Alrighty.
Just spread them out, single layer. There we go. Thank you, sir. Pop them in, close it up.
Alrighty.
Good
Couscous
there.
is next?
Yep, we're going to have you work on that. So
Okay.
got a pan here. We're going to get a little butter in there.
Alrighty.
And this couscous is a nice substitute. Woo! Hot pan. Got some onion, nice minced onion, red pepper. All right. And then we've got the couscous. You want about a cup of couscous to a cup of liquid. So 2 cups to 2 cups, 3 cups to 3 cups, so forth and so on.
Equal portions, okay.
Yeah, so we got some nice chicken stock here. And you can use anything you want. You can use vegetable stock, you can use water, you can use seafood stock. I chose chicken stock since it had a nice base and a nice hefty flavor to it. But pretty much any liquid will work.
Okay.
Minus
now, do
alcohol.
you usually, like for at home, but they can make their own stock, but if not, is the canned stock better than like using bouillon cubes, for example?
Bouillon cubes are about 75% salt, so if you don't like salt in your diet, I would stay away from those.
Okay. So you're better off with
the
the can.
prepared stocks, and I tend to choose the unsalted version. I like to be able to determine how much salt I put in my food, so I choose the unsalted stock, and then I can add as much salt or as little as I want. If you add the salt, use the salted ones, especially if you start to reduce them, that salt just concentrates, so it gets very, very salty very quickly.
Okay.
All right, and the
Now
couscous is super simple. Got the onions, butter, I've got the chicken stock, red peppers. All we're gonna do is bring that to a boil.
Okay.
We're gonna add the couscous in, stir that up, turn it off, put a lid on it, let it sit for about 5 minutes and it's done.
Done. That's it, huh?
Yep. If you mess that up, just put your equipment down,
I think I can do that.
leave the kitchen and never come back.
All right. Well, hopefully I won't mess it up then, because I don't want to have to leave.
All right, so we're gonna stir that up a little bit.
Alrighty.
And like I said, all we're gonna do is bring it to a boil, which we're almost there now.
Now this couscous, you said, I think you were telling me that one of the things you used to love is to be there when they'd harvest the couscous, right? From their couscous bushes, right?
Come on, you know better than that. No, what couscous is just a granular pasta. They use a durum wheat, and then as they're making it, just kind of comes off. So it's basically pasta, except little tiny little pellets.
And there is no couscous bush.
No, there's not. It's like I said, it's a wheat product. So, but it's a great substitute for rice. Use it. Like I said, it's super simple. Rice, 20-30 minutes to cook. This takes all of 5 minutes. As long as it takes to boil water, it takes to cook. And you can impart as many different flavors as you want. So it's a good substitute.
Okay.
We're using a multicolored. It's got some sun-dried tomato and some spinach infused into it as well. So kind of like a tricolored rotini, except we're doing a tricolored couscous.
All right.
So we got the water boiling. All we're going to do is stir that. Turn off the flame, get a nice little stir in there. Then we're going to stick a lid on it and set it to the side. 5 minutes later, you're done.
All right.
When we return, Chef Todd gets fired up making Caribbean shrimp.
And then,
Oh, yeah.
there we go. And all that brandy wafting into the air. Beautiful.
Let's get back to the kitchen with Chef Todd. It's time to put a little Caribbean flair on our shrimp.
Well, I guess the next step is the shrimp. What do we
Best
do to
part.
get started on the shrimp?
All right, so what we're gonna do, again, a little more butter.
Butter.
I love butter. Can't go wrong. Olive oil, grapeseed oil will work if you want to go for a healthier option. All right, so get that melted. We got some tomatoes, mangoes, a little sliced serrano chili, some onions, green onions, and then we're gonna finish everything off. Once we cook the shrimp, we're gonna do got some dark Jamaican rum. We're gonna cause some flames, make it a little nice presentation. Great way if you're cooking for friends or family, let them come in the kitchen and see that. Just don't burn off your eyebrows.
Don't set them on fire, right? You told me a little story earlier about that too, weren't you? About the flambe?
Oh, yeah, when I first came out of culinary school, had a sous chef I was working for. And he told me his very first cooking job he ever had. Fancy restaurant, he was so excited. First day on the job, helping on the saute station. And when you're flambeing, you want to pull it off the flame, add the alcohol, and then come back to the flame. Well, he was nervous, didn't do that. just poured it right over the top. Well, its flame shot up the spout into the bottle shot across the kitchen like a rocket, exploded on the back wall. He said he put all his stuff down, went and clocked out, and never came back.
Well, you're going to show us a safer way tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to burn the place down.
All right.
Or at least try not to anyway.
All right.
All right, so we got some onions going in.
Okay.
Some nice halved cherry tomatoes there. All right, I'm just going to saute that up a little bit.
All righty.
Let that cook down.
Now the chilies, they're Serrano chilies?
Serrano chilies, yep.
Are they real hot or just kind of mild? Or?
They're a little hotter than a jalapeno, but not too much. So be careful with them.
Use judiciously, right?
Yeah, if I was making this dish for myself, I'd probably use a Scotch bonnet or something along those lines, but that's got a lot of heat to it, so you limit your audience when you cook with certain peppers. So I tend to stay on the milder side of the peppers. That way I've got a broader audience. All right, so we got the tomatoes working. Go ahead and slice Serrano chilies. And there's a popular misconception with chilies. A lot of people think the seeds are where the spice is. It's actually the white ribs that contain the seeds. That's where all the spice is. Yep.
I always thought that, yeah.
Yep. So if you want to pull some of the heat out, just kind of cut them open, pull out that white rib in the middle, and it'll really reduce the spice of it.
Okay.
So you can still get that nice flavor, but without burning your mouth off and having to cry yourself to sleep. All right, so we've got that going. Now for the good part. We got the shrimp. Ooh. And the way I prepared these is I left the head on, left the tail on, and then peeled all the rest of it. So I get that flavor infused into the meat of it, but I left the head on and the tail on because as it's cooking, that's where all the flavor comes from.
Ah, okay.
Right, if you take the heads off and throw it away, you're just throwing all the flavor in the garbage.
Now, these are Baname shrimp, I think, it looks like.
Yep. Caught off the boat this morning, 1620s, so
a nice size.
Should be good. I was down there about 6 o'clock in the morning getting off the boat.
Man, they look great.
Toss that in. There's nothing better than the smell of shrimp and butter cooking.
I guess, you can use small, if you don't have big shrimp, you can use smaller ones.
Oh, you can
right?
use anything you have, yeah. I just like the bigger shrimp, more impressive on the plate.
Okay.
But no, you can use it. And you don't have to leave the heads on, like I said. That's just, I prefer it. One, it's a good presentation, and two, it adds flavor. But if it freaks you out having the shrimp look at you, you can peel them off.
Okay.
Some people get weirded out with eyes. That was one of the kind of the stories that got me really passionate about cooking. Is I grew up military kid, lived in Scotland, and one of my best friends' mother was Korean, and invited me over for dinner. And I was 6, 7 maybe, and they were very interested in food, so I was very curious. Walked into the kitchen, lifted the pan to the pot. They were making fish head soup, and it's literally just fish heads boiling. And for a 6-year-old, that's intense, especially for somebody from the South who's never had fish head soup before. So, but I tried it, loved it, and that's kind of my passion just grew from there. I was like, man, if boiling fish heads can taste this good, I can only imagine what else I can do with food. So.
Now, one thing with shrimp, you have to be careful on overcooking, right? Because they get a little tough.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, shrimp take, basically, once they turn pink, they're done. It doesn't take much time at all to cook a shrimp.
So usually, just from a time standpoint, with this size shrimp, how long would you expect to cook them normally?
The pan, about this size, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and it's going to be done. Okay. Like I said, I run into a lot of people from the north that, I don't like shrimp, they're rubbery. And they're over, I don't like the way the texture, and that's because you didn't know anybody that knew how to cook them. So it's one of those things where they taste amazing if they're done right, they taste terrible if they're done wrong, and it's about 45 seconds between the two. So, all right, so we got the shrimp going. What I'm gonna do is add some mango, and the sweetness of the mango will kind of counterbalance the spice of the Serrano chilies.
Okay.
And we're gonna add some green onion in.
All right.
A little salt and pepper. And then we're gonna hit it with some lime juice.
You can't go wrong with lime.
And that's that Caribbean influence. So we've got the butter, shrimp, the chilies, all Cajun Creole, and then we've got the mangoes and some of that lime juice to kind of give it the Caribbean influence.
It's really a festive looking dish, that's for sure.
A very pretty dish.
Yeah.
Nice fresh ingredients, not too overcooked.
This is another dish, recipe that you came up with yourself?
Yep.
That's impressive.
Just one of those where started working in South Florida, had a lot of chefs from Colombia, Puerto Rico, Cuba, and just started taking what I knew and what I was passionate about and picking up some of the stuff they gave me and just kind of
melding it together.
Yep,
huh?
This is the little bastard child of all of that. So it works out. All right, so we're going to crank up the heat a little bit here, and this is the fun part.
You're not going to set me on fire, are you?
I'm going to try to, so watch out.
Please don't set me on fire.
What we're going to do is finish it off, and we're going to pull all those ingredients together with some nice dark Jamaican rum.
Okay.
All right. And once we flambe it, all the alcohol is going to cook off, so you can serve this to anybody. You're not going to get you drunk.
Just have the flavor.
All right. But now in here, we've got nice high ceilings and a vent hood. If you're at home, be careful. depending on how low your ceiling is. The more alcohol you add, the bigger the flame is. So it's not hard to catch your roof on fire. So be very, very careful.
Yeah, you want to impress your guests a little bit, not a lot, right?
Yeah. You don't want to send them to the hospital. You just want them to ooh and ah, not ow and go run screaming. All right. So what we're gonna do is take it off the flame. We're gonna pour that brandy over, and then
oh yeah,
there we go. And all that brandy wafting into the air. It's beautiful. All right. And that, once the alcohol burns off, we are done.
That's impressive.
So when we come back, we're gonna take all the couscous, plantains, this little sauce over the top, and we're good to go. Very, very simple. Doesn't take much time at all.
When we come back, all the flavors come together, and I'm ready to eat.
I get a little bit of spiciness from the serrano chili, sweetness from the mango, then the butter's gonna counteract that, and then all of that should be soaked up in that couscous.
Welcome back to Hook It and Cook It. Well, we made our Caribbean shrimp and, well, you know what comes next. Well, it looks and smells like it's about done. Are we ready to plate it?
Yes, it is.
Well, let's do it.
The first thing we're gonna do, pull our plantains out of the oven.
Okay.
There. We're gonna take our couscous, our base. Just sits.
Stir it up a little bit.
Yep, kind of break it up a little bit. And put that on a plate. And the couscous is, one, it tastes good by itself, but once it soaks up all those flavors and butters from the shrimp, oh,
it'd be incredible.
I'm gonna have to beat you off with a stick. So we're gonna take the shrimp, just pile them up on there.
Now these shrimp are American shrimp?
Yep, caught from the Gulf. Like I said, I was down at the boat this morning getting them.
Now what's the advantage of those versus, I mean, aren't the foreign ones a lot less expensive, right?
Yeah, a lot less expensive. There's a good reason for that. One, the flavor on these, heads and shoulders better than the imported stuff. The imported are typically farmed, so you ever heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Well, if you eat nothing but one thing, you're gonna taste like nothing but one thing. These are wild caught. They taste so much better. And one of the most important things, very little federal regulation when it comes to imported seafood. So you have no idea what the water conditions are or anything along those lines. So knowing where they come from, knowing that they're protected, knowing that they're good for you and wholesome, that's where you want to stick to.
Sure.
Plus, support local economy. If you give money to your local economy, that money's bound to come back to whatever you do and keep you secured in your job.
So the old adage, you get what you pay for, basically, right?
Pretty much, yeah. They're a little more expensive, but they're well worth it. All right, so we got some plantains, just sprinkle those in a little bit. And this just gives it some crunch and some sweetness.
A little starch.
All right. And one more shrimp, can't ever go wrong there. And then we're gonna get some of that nice, beautiful juice off mangoes and tomatoes. Like I said, traditional scampi or barbecue shrimp, you'd see a nice little piece of French bread. But I took that out, put in the couscous, and it works just the same.
Same thing, okay.
All right. So, here we go. Moment of truth.
Well, it looks like a work of art once again here. I kind of hate to tear into it, but I'm going to have to. There's no question about that. Now, what kind of flavors would you expect that I should look for in tasting this?
I get a little bit of spiciness from the serrano chili, sweetness from the mango. Then the butter's going to counteract that, and then all of that should be soaked up in that couscous. And then you get a little of that plantain, that little bittersweet in the background.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm tasting it. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about alternatives for that, or pairing with beers and wine.
Sure. If I was alcohol with this, I'd go with a nice pale ale, something along those lines. This doesn't really, you can use wine. I would go maybe a little Pinot Noir would hold up well, but really I would go with a nice beer with this. IPA, pale ale, something along those lines. Yep. And the couscous, if you never dealt with it, kind of intimidating, you can go with angel hair pasta, rice, any starch along those lines would work just fine. Yeah, if you wanted, you can do some roasted potatoes under there, it would be just nice.
Yeah, okay,
well.
yeah, that'd be easy, yeah. Well, that, as you said, the mixture of the flavors is just, you got the bite of the chilies, like you said, and then the sweetness of the mangoes. That's excellent. I tell you, that's as good of a shrimp dish as I've ever had, I can tell you that.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Well, you learned how to make Caribbean shrimp, and I'd like to thank Chef Todd Reilly from the Culinary Arts School at Jefferson Davis Community College for showing us how to do it. And remember, you can find the recipe on our Facebook or webpage. Join us next time for another delicious edition of Hook It and Cook It.